My name is Mahmood Reza. I'm the proud owner of a business service company called Proactive Resolutions. In terms of previous background, in a previous life, I used to be a teacher, lecturer full-time. Decided that great career, excellent experience here, but decided to move on after a period of time before it became very difficult to move. I then had a transition into industry where I worked as a divisional accountant for a number of years for a major national company. And again, after I'd qualified, got lots of experience here, company wasn't large enough and I didn't really feel the idea of being a full-time accountant here, so I decided, as I've always wanted to do, was to start my own business service organisation, which is about 20 years ago. When I started my business, for me, I've always thought that you need to place your strengths first of all when you develop a business. And in terms of my background, in my experiences working in the commercial sector, working in the public sector, working quite a lot in the charity voluntary sector, both in terms of teaching, running courses, as well as providing accounting advice, the best idea for me was to have a company that would combine all of those here as an offering. So it's a whole suite nowadays. It's a suite of accounting services, training and management services, as well as consultancy services as well. One of the things I love about the business that I'm involved in, and it's made very possible by an excellent team of staff, is that we work across quite a number of sectors. So we've got a very strong experience in the charity voluntary sector. We work a lot with private businesses, whether they're owner-managed businesses, whether they're sole traders or partnerships. We work with individuals. So effectively, for me, a business is any organisation that gets together to do something. So whether it's a commercial one, a non-commercial one, then we have an offer for that type of business. Business services, I think sometimes people have got a misconception of that, and for me, the business service offering is we focus on what we call the hard red stuff. So within the accounting practice, we do the traditional core services like accounts preparation, financial accounts, statutory tax work. We also emphasise a lot in terms of the management support for companies as well. So we prepare management accounts, any ad hoc project work here, giving advice accordingly, and also specialisms from working in the charity sector, working within sort of tax consultancy and tax planning. On the other side, a separate company which supports the practice and vice versa. We offer training courses, in-house seminars, accredited training, and a whole suite of consulting and management services. Make sure, two or three things I would probably think in terms of if I took that advice, which I did myself years ago, make sure your mindset is the correct one. It normally takes me, in my experience, about 1.5 years for an individual or a business to learn how to become self-employed. You have no safety net, you're responsible for everything that you do yourself. Make sure that you surround yourself by good, competent professionals. Doesn't mean you have to pay for them necessarily, but make sure you're talking to people who actually know what they're talking about. And I would suggest also, as well as the entrepreneurial flair that you might need, is make sure you're structured, and you must embrace planning, not necessarily producing documents, but you've got to think about what lies ahead of you and anticipate any sort of shortfalls. Now, I'm at the tender age of just gone past my 50. I know you might not think so looking at me as such, but at some point I'd like to obviously slow things down. Within the practice itself, within my own staff, I'll be spending less day to day on the actual running of the practice, both heavily involved in its organisation. Probably get back to the things that I did at the very beginning of my business cycle and doing a lot more international work. In my early days I did a lot of international consulting, and I've been benefiting from working in countries like Cuba and Russia and Africa, and through the training company we're doing a lot more of that work, and I'd see myself very much of expanding into that area and maybe slowing down a little bit as well.